Hello and welcome back to College God. We've got ourselves a good one here on Thursday, and it's unfortunately only the one game rather, I should say, that will be coming out for you guys this evening. But it will be a good one as we've got number 8 Rutgers Scarlet going up against number 11 Penn State White. Both teams have only lost a single set so far, and how about this? It was against the number 1 team in the Northeast in Humber College, the reigning champions. My whole shift with Proper for you on this evening. We've got a battle of the Big Ten here, Proper. I know that you were also in the Northeast, a Maryland grad. I'm also in the Big Ten, an IU grad. So I don't know what our feelings are with this one, as our alumni, I'm sure, would be happy to hear us talking smack on both of these squads. But regardless, they've both had a very solid season so far.
I'll definitely keep my reservations to talk about UMD at this time as well, looking at the Northeast as a whole. But you're not wrong. Penn State sitting at 5th, and we have Rutgers Scarlet sitting at 4th currently. This is the Penn State White squad. Penn State Blue, of course, currently residing at 2nd place. Well, just probably tied. I don't remember the map win-loss. I think that they have one more loss underneath Humber, who currently resides at 1st.
2 more map losses, yeah. So Penn State Blue's right in the mix. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just like a photo run-in right now. But nevertheless, something's got to give for these Titans, and something's going to definitely create some spacing in between the top 5 here after today. Whether or not Rutgers Scarlet can definitely overcome Penn State White would definitely be something to see. Definitely a lot of strong players on both of these rosters that we know as well.
100% the case. As you take a look at Rutgers first and foremost, I guess most of these names should feel familiar to you. Most notably, Lou up top, of course, the veteran member here for Rutgers. We also got Protocol, Yodi, Reckless, and Quantic. All of them have played very, very well this season. And again, we talk about it a lot when it comes to how do you find success in the College COD season. And mostly, I think we all agree that if you've got 5 members that can all participate, your chances of winning and your chances of doing well as a whole in the league go up astronomically. And that's exactly what we have here with this Rutgers Scarlet squad.
You're not wrong. They're going up against, well, like we were saying earlier, in Poison, Penn State White. Going to be represented by Ken, Senso, Report, Sparky, and Shades. Going to be interesting to see how their profile has been settling. Competition continues to heat up. And we kind of spoken about the entirety of Northeast Division. Well, it's just that there are a lot of strong teams coming out of this specific division alone, and I'm very interested to see. This is my first time looking at them in Modern Warfare as a whole. I'm not too sure about U-Shift for the Penn State White squad, but having a couple wins that they have across some of their adversaries here in the Northeast Division, it definitely tells a tale within its own self.
And I think you're absolutely right. I have not had a chance to see any of these guys play yet, so I'm right there with you when it comes to being a little bit blind going into this matchup when it comes to specifically looking at this 5-man roster on your screen. But as far as where we'll be playing tonight and where we'll get kind of an exhibition between these two squads, it'll be starting off on Gunrunner for the hard point, then we'll have Ramaza Search and Destroy, and at least the Hackney Yard domination. If we see ourselves surviving to a map 4, we'll stay on Hackney Yard, switch it to hard point, and then map 5 will be Search and Destroy and Arclon P. This is one of those things that, again, you look at these first 3 maps, really can be decided. You think a lot from the SMG gameplay. Of course, Gunrunner and Hardpoint, or really just Hardpoint as a whole, we typically don't see more than 1 AR as a setup. But then you look at Ramaza Search and Destroy, we don't typically see sniper gameplay or a lot of AR gameplay. SMGs can absolutely run through the middle of the map freely. And then again, Hackney Yard domination, all determined by the close quarters battle. So I'm interested to see what happens with the SMGs, most specifically between the 10 players that'll be on the field.
Yeah, Ramaza's been growing on me as far as an SMD map is concerned. Definitely gets pushed as far as patience and execution is concerned. Something is going to have to blow over eventually. Can't worry about how hard the dust is going to blow there in Ramaza. We'll get there eventually. So we do start out Hardpoint Gunrunner. You're going to have Rutgers Scarlet famously inside their colors. Penn State White on the left. Going to be that 50-50 break into P1 right over top in between the showers and the green warehouse building. It's all about the bloodbath that comes through, yes, but you want to be forcing that spawns for P2, which Penn State White spawning over on that side of the map, currently control.
And again, for Penn State White, it really just comes down to how much time are you willing to forfeit here. As Lou finds himself 2 kills in the kill feed. I believe I also saw an MP7 in the kill feed. Have to keep an eye out to see if that comes into play at all. Again, typically we just see MP5s and M4s, but some people have been feisty, trying to swap up the meta a little bit. A couple MP7s here or there, a couple M13s here or there. but mostly still just the MP5 and M4 gameplay that you come to know and expect. Protocol having a little bit of trouble mantling, and the timing of it is awful, as Ken will just be coming right across the way while he's trying to get up from the little water river, and that will be enough for Penn State White to, again, negate some extra time, but careful here, because you got 2 members to Rutgers Scarlet already in the back. That's Protocol and Reckless, who I believe are back there. Just comes down to, can Penn State White find that? Pardon me, that's actually Quantic who's in the back over this direction. And so now it just comes down to, can you snip these players out? Because Quantic's looking to break on through with his teammate, and they'll do just that.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was talking about. And it's even much more of a head stir when, although it is a minor point deficit, the enemy in Rutgers Scarlet for Penn State White, that they do hold the lead, and they were able to get in behind you, try to force out the spawns, where you now see Penn State White coming in from the coal mines. It's going to be a good pincer, and they're going to need the break to come on through. Lu going down, Senso able to find that one, though they get traded out. Quantic and Protocol able to fend off, staying alive inside the hardpoint for the time being. Lone survivor Quantic will go down. So a little bit of a break momentarily. Still a little bit of a brawl and a scuffle going on here on the point. Senso's going to try to get a little bit of the scrap time going for their team. Although with Rutgers Scarlet still spawning in, you can already see with the white arrows on your screen, Penn State White trying to take control of these coal mines, as that's where we are headed to next.
And really, you take a look at the scoreboard, and through 2 full hills, we're only dealing with a combined total of right around 70 points, which is not much considering we've been through 120 seconds worth of time so far in both our 2 hard points. So now for Penn State White, you did a pretty good job, even though you did get broken pretty quickly on the back end. Can you find a way here to get yourself going for maybe a very influential minecarts hill, as they are doing well in the initial setup, but again, Rutgers Scarlet breaking through the middle of the map are going to pinch through the boxes.
Senso's going to be able to roll in here, going to be able to get in the side, as Penn State White are in firm control of this hard point. Good kill there from Reckless. Going to get the remaining member from Penn State White off that point. Going to start going towards the favor of Rutgers Scarlet. Their lead is now growing to about 32. Yes, Lou with a good snap there. Won't be able to get the third. Ken's going to be able to gun them down. It's all scrap time, although they are encroaching towards the lead. It's still the spawns you have to be able to be afraid of, with Rutgers Scarlet still flooding in, or at least trying to. They're still spawning in behind the warehouse here, Shift. While the rest of Penn State White, they've already rotated on the backside of water through train cars. They're trying to go for P4, which is in those tins. There is a player here for Rutgers Scarlet. Going to be able to get some backup here for the time being, but Penn State White already setting up here in and around the tins. It could be hard to break through.
And it really, I don't really like that challenge from Ken there after the scrap time was kind of coming to fruition. He goes to challenge boxes where he can just play his life. And you mentioned that Rutgers, yeah, spawning for P5, but if you can keep some distraction and keep them from coming across the mid-map for free, you should hold on to some significant time here on P4. And so far in these cargo containers, Penn State has done a pretty decent job nearly tying the game up. It really just comes down to whatever happens to this one more hit. I have no idea what Reckless thinks he's doing. There's still 25 seconds worth of time, and he's just laying prone by the mine carts. He will get 1 kill, but you kind of wonder if he should have been assisting in the push maybe a little bit sooner. Regardless, Rutgers will find a break with the odd man numbers not in their favor, and they will continue to keep their lead, but it'll be a marginal one. So it comes down to the 50-50 here as we get over to this P5. All 5 Scarlet members will jump into this hill as they spawn right on top, but very early, Penn State can challenge.
Yeah, no, these early kills are going to be very difficult, but you got to be dealing with the respawns coming through. Seeing them now for Rutgers Scarlet because of how Penn State White was able to flood in there with numbers. They're all spawning out back by trees. They're going to be able to set up a little bit of a firm hold. It's a good early break considering there's still 40 seconds in there, and for that hard point, they're dealing with all the respawns coming through. All of these angles being held by Penn State White are absolutely phenomenal. Because you know Rutgers Scarlet are going to be flooding in from a handful of angles, there's only so much to do, but Reckless says, yeah, there's only so much I could do, but I have 1 weapon and I got a dream. Goes off for 4 straight.
I want to say that was a 1-clip 4-piece too, based on how fast all those kills popped up in the kill feed, but regardless, Rutgers will salvage the hill after being broken way too easily. Quantic wins a gunfight that he had no business winning, but that'll immediately get traded. And then now for Rutgers, you can see Yodi is the player looking to get back towards this munitions depot. It'll be a 1v1 between him and Senso to essentially figure out who gets some early pressure here in the back. Both players will go right by each other, 1 up top, 1 down low. And with the hill opening up and Rutgers still spawning out, it will be Penn State granting some easy time here for the center platform. But you can take a look. Now it's Report. He's got 1 more left behind him. The rest of Penn State will be spawning up still at P2, but Yodi is not going to go down without a fight. He's looking for a second kill. Shot's not quite there. We'll take the reach out and then eventually get traded out. Ken being a little bit more bashful about his engagement, but still he gets the help, and Rutgers will not be able to fully break through the T2 spawns, at least not as of yet. 30 seconds, though, still remaining on the first hardpoint, and Rutgers will grow their lead by right around 40 points.
Those trades are really dangerous because Rutgers Scarlet were still able to put one body on the point. Their lead now growing ever so further, and they were able to start flipping the spawns, but then they lost the returning gunfight off the respawns from Penn State White, so they grabbed the P2 spawns right back in their favor, and they're getting the scrap time. This is Sparky already setting up here inside the munitions depot, having spawns in their favor. Rutgers Scarlet, they're all the way spawning towards the coal mines. They're going to have to wish for a very later break here. That's a good kill from Quantic, killing off Ken, but the rest of the team can't follow through.
Yeah, the rest of the team not following through is exactly what I'm looking at. You got Sparky, who's 5 and 20. Granted, he is soaking up a lot of hill time, but as this essentially feels like a game that should be out of reach for Penn State. But again, you take a look, you're looking mostly at Report, who's 23 and 15. He's on 4 straight this life, really trying to make a go of it. He eventually will be shut down. But if you're on-hill objective player, cannot find kills. You know, maybe if you're playing the entry, I can understand that scoreline, but he's sitting on the hill for essentially free in Sparky, and you just got to find a way to at least trade out your life, if not find a couple. And so far, that's one of the big reasons why Penn State is down by the 20-point margin that they currently are.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You got Reckless as your firm example there, 26 and 20. And those entry MP5s we were highlighting at the beginning of the broadcast. In full seconds, that scrap time from P2 will go away here. Penn State White do have that early rotation as they have been finding continuously, as Schiff was talking about. Sparky, almost a minute where the hill time is about to achieve that right here, but the back, the pinch and the hit coming through, Ken actually fends him off, finds 2. A Report is just bouncing around the warehouse, keeping spawns in Penn State White's favor. And this is really good for Penn State White, considering everything we were saying earlier. Now that they have control of the hill, they just need to be fending off the respawns, which Rutgers Scarlet, they take their numbers. Now they're just flooding in all the way through where B-Dom is. Report, what a good timing. He's able to find 2, can't get the third. Had the head pop and everything.
That was by far the opportunity for him to find a 4-piece on the flank. Very well played for Penn State White to pinch up the hill, reading the spawns for Rutgers. And with that, now there's an opportunity for them to flip the score into their favor off this hill. As long as they can hold on, which they won't, Lou, Yodi, and Protocol will find 4 of the 5. Last player left, and that's free will be Penn, who's currently sitting mid-map, who gets traded. So it looks like for now, Rutgers will hold the lead. It'll be a 15-point lead going to cargo containers. Lou, the first one here as well for Rutgers, but does not track down Senso from behind. Now it's up to Quantic to come to the bathrooms. He also will find limited to 0 success. And with that, Penn State now setting up mid-map for a potential to not only hold on to this hill at P4 early, but to watch the crosses coming through from the P5 spawns.
And now all these angles, it almost seems like Penn State White are firmly warmed up now, Shift. Their early rotations all the way through the backside of Tins, getting their early control here on the Tin hardpoint. Well, now they have the lead. Now they're fending back Rutgers Scarlet, who then have to take their the late rotation. Yes, they are getting the scrap time, but take a look at how Penn State White are assaulting the rest of the map, going through the mid, covering the showers. Yes, we just lost 1 through the jump wall. And Protocol going off for 2. It's quite crazy indeed. But all these extra gunfights, this is going to be Penn State White controlling the lead, making Rutgers Scarlet spawn all the way back. They have to take a little bit of a different approach this time around, not being the aggressor. They have to set up here inside the warehouse. And now Penn State White get the chance of an early breakthrough.
It just comes down to what happens during this next hill. 60 seconds worth of time. Rutgers could be in striking distance of winning. Neither team able to be able to win anymore at this point in time. Reckless is just having a field day right outside green, and for Penn State, you got to read this guy and deal with him. You can't let him keep pinching you up. Now, finally, Report Sparky and Senso for 3. Here's your opportunity for your break. As here comes Penn State White with numbers. They're able to get onto the hill, and just like that, right around the 35-second mark, Penn State White breaks, and you really got to wonder, what else does Reckless have to do to get some help? Because he was the only one playing forward and trying to hold off Penn State from coming in. He can't do it by himself.
I mean, if you look at the kills alone, yes, there are 2 players for Penn State White, that's Senso and Report, that are over 30 kills themselves. But when kills come in alone, you would think that it would be a different story. The lead's not big for Penn State White, but Rutgers Scarlet are definitely winning out as far as early trades are concerned. Those kills are definitely going in their favor, but these rotations for Penn State White, it's definitely hitting a lot later and a lot more impactfully than I thought it was going to, and I'm sure even Rutgers Scarlet were as well. Now, even though these trades are coming through in the middle of the map, it is another rotation of hard points coming through. Rutgers Scarlet are going to start taking these kills and continuously throw 1 member on top of the point because they can't afford Penn State White to walk away with too many points in P1 because they can just win it out right here.
30 seconds, but Rutgers has done a nice job. They're actually soaking a little bit of time, plus they've won the rotation for the P2 spawns. It's a little crazy, a lot of individual moments happening from the north side of the minimap. But again, if you're Penn State White, you've got to find a way to put some pressure across the map. So Rutgers Scarlet feels like they have to not only defend for the spawns, but also defend the hard point. And actually, they still can win it here. Here comes Shades to help out from beyond. You see Lou is the only player by the cargo containers. He's tagged up.
They're spawning so far out.
140 points to 215. Lou's going to try to take one player off. He will do just that, but he's still got to go further than this if he wants to have a chance. 247, 248. Rutgers Quantic, you have to get in there and touch. He's going to touch in the last second. 2 seconds left. And Reckless, is he able to do enough? The answer is no. He only finds 1 kill in Penn State White. They bunker up on the center platform and steal away what felt like a 4v5 versus Rutgers Scarlet. What a performance.
After those trades came through at the latter half of P1 in the third rotation shift, absolutely insane. And you said it wonderfully. How much more does Reckless need to do? You saw it right there in the play of the game. And absolutely insanity. But then they spawned so far out, Rutgers Scarlet did. So far out, all the way by P2. And there was a player lingering back there that they almost thought that it was going to be enough time that Rutgers Scarlet were going to be able to get there and enough time to be able to get it contested enough so that way they could set themselves up on P2. But that just wasn't the case. They had to keep flooding in. It almost seemed like, well, Penn State White just kind of ripped the rugs out from Rutgers Scarlet right underneath them because they only took that lead, at about P3 right through the second rotation. It was a very late lead change, but nevertheless, Penn State White coming out on top of those rotations through and through, and then coming out on top of map number 1.
Look, the simple fact of the matter was you got broken on P5 way too easily. Not once, but twice. If you're Rutgers Scarlet, you've got to try to zone the map out a little bit better than that. And then again, you can kind of get the sentiment and the mentality from this Rutgers squad that they're just playing a little bit apprehensive, again, on that third rotation of hills, trying to make sure that they're fighting for the spawns. Once you secure the spawns for P2, you've got to put some pressure down onto the hard point. You can't let Penn State White, who, again, there were 30 seconds or so remaining. They needed 25 of them. They found 25 out of 30 seconds. You've got to contest some of that time. You got to get forward. You got to help out Reckless and Lou, who really felt like they were trying to do it all. And for Penn State White, I think you feel pretty fortunate that you were able to stay in that game for as long as you were, and then late into the series they're able to find not only a couple of very crucial breaks, but a little bit of fortune to be able to kind of button yourself up onto that center platform and find some significant time. So 250 to 215 the score. We take a look at our series set as far as where we're going to be heading to next here. It will be Ramaza for the search and destroy. Again, this is one of those instances where we're going to be looking mostly to see what kind of SMG pressure these teams can bring to the mix. So again, a lot of the times the bomb carrier will be running an MP5, trying to push through either the bottom side of construction or more commonly through Cafe over to the B-bomb site. That's from the offensive perspective. But even defensively, you're looking to maybe get an SMG player freed up into that Cafe and try to control the mid-map. So that way, if you do need to rotate from A to B or vice versa, you could do it in a variety of ways safely.
Yeah, it's just like I was talking about at the beginning of the set shift. With Ramaza, it comes down to patience, execution. Sometimes teams get a little bit too antsy for their own like, and you could end up pushing a little bit too far forward. Those aggressive defensive pushes can definitely come back to bite you in the rear, quite literally. And sometimes over-peeking inside the gun shop or even on top of Cafe can get you caught out. For the offensive or from the offensive team going up the ladder from top Cafe. You know, defensively, it is pretty traditional to be putting the one player on about either on the second stack or the third stack of the construction site, overlooking the mid scoop. It's always interesting to see how teams take the adaptations from Ramaza Hardpoint or Search and Destroy, rather, especially from all the way from CDL. All the way through the different events that you and I have been covering over the past couple of days, whether it's the Scrim Nights that we did last night or the Aegean event. We've been seeing a lot of different takes as far as how Ramaza could be played. Defensively, you could be taking very aggressive smoke pushes if you do have the Dead Silence available. We've also seen some pretty cheeky sniper play you could be pulling off just from that one angle. You know that I'm always wishing that I could see it more, but it is just that one angle you can find it for. But at the end of the day, it always comes down to what the teams feel most comfortable with. And, well, if you can catch them off guard defensively every single time, and that's how you win your rounds out, that's how you're going to win a map.
100% the case. And just as a reminder, as far as winning maps go, both of these teams have not dropped a single map versus any of their other opponents, with the exception of Humber. And beyond that, Penn State White, They were the only team so far this season to take a map off of Humber, and guess where it happened? It was on Search and Destroy. A total of a 6-3 tally in that one, and that's kind of what you're looking at here, maybe for Rutgers, saying, do you worry a little bit about what exactly this Penn State white team has to offer? And wouldn't you know it, that map they were able to find a 6-3, it was Search and Destroy on Ramaza. So I feel like if you're Rutgers, you really need to find a way to battle into this one. Again, they're really they should have won that first hard point, but maybe a little bit too slow, a little bit too apprehensive on getting some of these rotations in and getting broken too early. Now with your backs maybe up against the wall here, going into your S&D pick that was not yours, you've got to find a way to battle up against this Penn State white team.
Very aggressive push inside the cafe. Report immediately traded out. A very aggressive defensive push through the cafe is only going to mean Penn State white are down in numbers. Blue and Protocol able to answer back off the finance of those trades. Big brawl out. All outside bomb site B. Bomb will be dropped, and it's only going to be Protocol that's left, the lone survivor of Rutgers Scarlet.
And again, you take a look at just how that all divulged. You see all of the X's that are happening all over the map, all those skulls. Again, the one in the middle for Rutgers, that was Reckless. And as soon as he dropped, his teammate pushed through. And you need to make sure you're keeping Cafe control before you make a move, especially if these trades are going back and forth. And Penn State White just put Senso up top in the L stairs, and he's able to find 2 kills from the side for free. And then again, you see Shades from here just helping watch over the top of them, knowing that they could play for the post-plant setup if you ever saw Rutgers get the bomb down, which of course that round they do not. So first round going the way of Penn State White, and again, just good understanding of the influential parts of the map.
Just a big tip your hat to the love that we have for Codcaster, and we'll see our stats later as they take a mini vacation through the rest of the map, search and destroy. Now we see how Penn State White take their offense. Now Rutgers Scarlet will die immediately from a set frag grenade. You talk about well-cooked chip. That one is medium rare and juicy at that. Reckless will get the trade back on reports. Be a quick little scrap in the middle of the cafe that Reckless comes out on top of. Let's see what they do with that map terrain in just a little bit. Ken is on top of the point. There was a player. We can see through the X-ray, and now they'll know it's Lou. On top of the gun shop. We'll find the bomb down in Ken. Lou for 2 now. Find Sparky as well. It's a lot of smoke being broken out. Senso has to make a play happen. The bomb was dropped. Don't forget, Ken was the carrier.
Yeah, but so he just heard Reckless underneath him opening up a door, I'm pretty sure. So he'll know that there's someone bottom cafe. His teammate is right with him. That's Shades who's up top. And man, I'll tell you, getting a double set nade over the middle of the map, you should figure that, hey, there's probably nobody watching by A, if not over the middle. Can we maybe just dead silence, make a play, and wrap through electronic shop to come back to the bomb? Maybe catch these guys off guard. Sensa would not be surprised if he wants to hit the dead silence, just jump out the window and hit the side stairs here. But again, you've got to clear out Reckless mid-map before you do any of those things. So here comes the dead silence, and he's going to hit the side door. No one's going to hear this. Should be 1 kill for free. How does Rutgers respond to this? Reckless is still staying prone bottom cafe. Shades now coming over to look over the top, while the bomb will be recollected. And this is going to be a plant over towards B. It just comes down to, will you expect Yodi to be bottom side of this gun shop? Do you push through that? Reckless is taking a long rotation back through Rug, and Yodi will catch Sensa before he can get set up for the post-plant spot.
I thought that was almost just perfect timing.
Oh.
Bomb planted and everything. Snap from Reckless from their MP5. It's going to be the defuse coming through. Just going to be giving it a little bit of time. Giving some dead silence charge. Probably just waiting for a few more seconds here, and they have it to play with. Penn State White, definitely love that execution there from Senso. I mean, the dead silence. I mean, that was going to be the one play, apart from the one that you were talking about, making the firm wrap all the way around the electronic shop. Love the execution that came through as well. Just a only needed a handful more seconds for the post-plant situation setup to come through, but still, regardless, 2 defensive victories back. Fourth, we go here in the map and round number 3. Gonna have to see if Rutgers Scarlet can clean things up on their offense. And Penn State White doing nothing out of the usual. Gonna see if they think twice about the aggressive push coming through in the middle of cafe. Though it was traded out. It's a report that keeps playing in there, and it's always gonna be met by Reckless. And who would have thought coming off that hard point to standing SMG players, meeting hand in hand in the middle of cafe for a latte.
Well, that's first 1v1. Oh, it's wonderfully timed. Uses the Semtex just to clear the space. And now, again, take a look at Rutgers. They're set up in a great position to where they can push through. You just got to be careful. The player that's right above, that's number 7 in Senso, who's up there. And it looks like him and Penn will make their way back over towards the B bomb site. Protocol able to find one of the two. Senso still up top, +1 flanking from the A site here for Penn State White on their potential retake. But the bomb is not feeling comfortable to be planted. Now that a set nade comes through, Reckless will check. He'll find the kill, and that should be enough to start planting this bomb. It's a 2v1. Not really sure what you're waiting for here. But now Shades is in a position to where he can actually watch over the top of the bomb. He noticed that nobody's on top of it planting yet, so he'll just keep his life, and I'm sure every so often he'll just check to make sure this bomb isn't getting planted.
Perhaps Rutgers Scarlet aren't too sure where Shades could be located at. I mean, again, this hesitation, it's all the time the bomb could be planted. I mean, there's 45 seconds left in the round that they have before they can firmly plant it, but, and like you said, Shades is in a really good position here.
Oh, this timing.
Almost be perfect, you would assume.
Here comes the plant. He's not going to see it.
Not at all. It was just missed. Reckless, no need to be peeking on top of that window. Protocol just sugar peeking up and around. Good shots there from Shade's going to be able to make this a 1v1, though the bomb is down and planted. 30 seconds remaining on its ticker.
Reckless, there's no chance you continue to challenge from this angle. You've got dead silence to maybe move around the site if you want to. You should know that Shades isn't on yet. He's going to get an opportunity. Oh, damn it, save it for both. And then Reckless will immediately pop up to the second floor. That was about as narrow of a 1v1 as we'll ever see in Modern Warfare. Came down to literally single bullets. And actually, Reckless just got his regen off from the last engagement he took. So he's really fortunate to be alive, let alone to find the kill. And with that, Rutgers will be able to find themselves a narrow lead here, 2-1 the score.
First offensive victory we found. Penn State White getting their opportunity to answer back. Going to see if they take the methodical approach over to bomb site A or if they just continue to storm on through to B. Going to be a little bit of a split coming through, actually. We've seen this bait and switch a handful of times, so Rutgers Scarlet, they might have this pretty well scouted out. See a player already going into the bottom of the rug shop, traditionally having the one player all the way to the end of construction, but all this is able to do is supposed to set up for Ken to make it through on the bomb site for free, but he's got to win that 1v1, actually loses and drops the bomb in the process. Gotti coming out on top of that one. However, there is a player moving their way inside the gun shop. Lou's going to start getting a couple of shots down that way. It's going to be a report that tries to give me the way in there. Door's going to be opened up wide. Shots through the door. You weren't wrong there. Senso was able to answer back, though.
Oh, he's got some info as well. You heard those feet stomping from above. He's got dead silence, so Senso, he's going to make a play for the ladder. Oh, the timing is great for the one onto Quantic. Now a 1v1. And you're sitting there wondering, Quantic, why are you not just playing with your teammate in blue? But regardless, Senso will find a little bit of extra duration towards his dead silence, but not going to make a difference. Does not keep his gun fully up and did not expect Lou to be standing in a corner in the top side of the gun shop. And that's very fortunate that Lou even checks this angle, the timing that he does. And Rutgers will survive another round as Senso made things a little bit too interesting for them.
Almost, have to wonder why we weren't looking a little bit further up the stairs, but I'll go down and overanalyze that at a later date. 3-1, Rutgers Scarlet. Now for a chance to grow their lead even further. Their offense last time coming out on top. I like where the bomb is headed this time around. Start working with the conditioning. You can see Penn State White. They have two players in the mid. One player is kind of figuring out if they want to throw themselves through the cafe. I can only imagine that's going to be a report. Finds a good set nade there on Aquanic. The bomb is on top of the rug shop. Player is going to find the shots down towards there. It's Shades on top of construction. It's going to be a bomb dropped. Player right on top of the bomb trying to pick it up this time. I believe that they did. Not. Reckless is going to be able to get a good track and follow through shot there on a report. Numbers heavily in the advantage for Penn State White.
Kobe. No, not there. Reckless, though, with that nade coming out, I believe he's given some information on where he is.
There's no way.
All right, it's a 1v2 now after the 1v4. We talked about this the other day, Andy. If you're going to clutch up more than a 1v3, you need to be on offense, but you also need to have the bomb. Reckless making his way over this way. 60 seconds to play with, and again, Penn State White, what are we doing? It's a 1v1 now. Sparky, who had an atrocious hardpoint, has to be the savior here for Penn State White. And to stop Reckless, who popped off not only in the hardpoint, but who's having a great game here in the search from clutching up a 1v4. He's going to get the bomb down, and now a major advantage for Rutgers.
Pop that silence just to make that entire rotation happen so swiftly. Now Sparky over the jump wall. Missed it just a bit. They have that silence, so Reckless doesn't know this is coming around from the backside. He gets the head of Reckless, has more than enough time. Well played from Sparky. We talked about their 15 and 35 fumble there on hardpoint, but what a well-executed play to not make the dream come to life there for Reckless in a 1v4 situation. But wow, really well played from Reckless, and you're not wrong, Shift. I mean, we did talk about it. If you're going to make the miracle play happen, it has to be on offense with the bomb, and while Reckless made the one of the well-versed decisions, it just came down to resources being used there, and again, just got to tip your hat if you're Sparky. All the teammates for Penn State White, I'm sure, popping off for them to not let that round slip through. Now diminishing the lead as far as points are concerned for Rutgers down to 1.
It's one of those things that the only reason I think why Sparky even checks that angle so liberally is because he saw the door closing that Reckless closed up on the backside of the gun shop. So if maybe he doesn't do that, maybe if Reckless doesn't close that door, maybe he then keeps a small little bit of an advantage as far as concealing his position. Report after they get first blood from a set nade. I was going to say, go up there, friend. This is green pastures for you. Lou's trying to get there, and the hip fire is able to get Lou down before he could snap back around. We'll slide down the stairs quickly. Now reports in the back. He'll find a second headshot multiplier. Thank you very much. And now it's just down to getting the bomb planted here at B, which it should be able to do successfully, although Ken does get taken down, and now Quantic has found report, and you're wondering, Shades, what are you doing on this side of the map? Senso as well. You need to be there to help your teammates clear out the middle, and they never did either of those things, so Quantic with the chance to potentially clutch things up again for Rutgers.
Dead silence was popped out in the back, too, so Shades didn't hear the footsteps out in the courtyard. Will go down. Quantic now for 3 in this round alone.
Cat and mouse.
Bum, bum. Bum, bum, ba-da. Penn State White evening things up here. Much needed back-to-back rounds, 3-3. Cat and mouse. More like Jaws. Waiting for the perfect time to strike.
Jaws
or I guess
and boat? Is that what you...
Yeah.
Is that how that simile would work? I don't know. Maybe we could check to see if our score stats are popping here. I know sometimes... Nope, still busted. Okay.
Still on vacation?
Yeah, still on vacation. This is not PTO for this scoreboard, by the way. We do not allow this. This is AWOL more than anything else. But here comes Rutgers on their next offensive attempt here in round number 7, 3-3 tie. Rutgers, I would say, had an opportunity to go up 4-1 at one point in time. Now looking at a tie game, you don't like that. Yodi will find first blood onto Ken. That was right outside the dark alley and those archways over to the left of where Lou currently is positioned. Sparky holding on top of the truck right outside the B-bomb site. Let's give you the next one up as far as the line of defense. Rutgers, Lou, he's going to see him trying to tag him up. I don't know where those shots were going, but they were a touch high, giving him a shave and a haircut for 2 bits. But regardless, it's going to be trades back and forth. And Rutgers will, I was going to say, come out on top of the numbers, but again, nobody clears out the mid-map. Now Quantic has to try to read this protocol. Will find the trade. Quantic having a little bit of trouble trying to mantle up to the platform. Will he get the timing on the trade? He will. It's a 2v1 favoring Rutgers, and the bomb has been recollected.
And of course, would-be Shades. We're on top of the rug shop. Undecided for the past few rounds about what rug they're going to be bringing home for their fam, but going to have to make for a play here sometime soon. I believe that sounds was pop of the smoke coming out from Protocol. Quantic's going to be able to stick the bomb. I like this play coming out from Shades, so coming around the backside. The dead silence is completely gone. They're going to have to wait for a post-plant situation here in, well, 34 seconds. Going to start making a play through. I don't fully agree with going down the alleyway, though I guess 50-50 chance on both.
Yeah.
We'll break into the top of the stairs. Could potentially catch player off guard if the angle is right. Yeah, I was about to say. Even Benji knows they can hear him amongst the silence. Going down the stairs will go down. 4-3 now for Rutgers Scarlet.
Man, if you're Rutgers Scarlet, you really need to close this map out. I mean, again, we should have said the same thing about the hard point too, but look what happened. So now we go into round number 8. And it's been back and forth, although maybe not for the right reasons for both of these squads. But again, it's these two teams battling for the second position currently in the Northeastern Division. Both teams have lost their battles versus Humber. So in order to find themselves on top of the division, they would need a little bit of help from somebody. And candidly speaking and briefly speaking, there are a lot of teams in this Northeastern Division that very well could surprise. But for this round in specific, Report Reckless, 1v1. Reckless goes for the drop shot, but ends up putting his head right in the line of fire of Report. And with that, Shades finds a follow-up. So now it's a Well, I was going to say a 5-on-3.
Oh, my.
Oh, wait, hello?
That
is the strongest railing I've ever seen in the world, or something just absolutely busted on that connection.
That was the adamantium railing that got placed into Ramaza, and I know Shift because you don't know much about comic books. That's what Wolverine's skeleton is made out of.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was going to let you just go on that one and say sure, but...
2v2 now. And Penn State White, they saw the bomb. Senso is clutching it, hugging it, but don't squeeze it too tight. Otherwise, it's going to explode. There is a player for Rutgers Scarlet here inside the gun shop. Sparky will pop in here. He's going to reload. Quite a loud little mouse they are currently being, and we'll be able to find the shots through the railing that time around. It just comes on Aquatic. It's going to bust down the door.
It's got an aid.
Oh, it's going to smoke it first, though. Going to be able to help.
You only knew.
Yeah, it's going to help Penn State. I mean, that's kind of interesting. The decisions here, but could be a good old bait and switch. Aquatic now over top of the stairs now, checking every single angle as quickly as possible. If they're going to find Senso, Senso finds them instead. Not the way you wanted to find your enemy.
That was...
Just damn.
That's... I don't even know what to say. I mean, between the railing and then tossing the smoke instead of the Semtex, I mean, a lot of things could have gone differently there, but regardless, we go into round 9, still knotted up at 4 apiece for both of our squads. And for the Scarlet Knights from Rutgers, what can you do on this offense to put yourselves up going to potentially that big, crucial 10th round? You definitely do not want to put yourself in a space to where you have to win 2 rounds straight. How about you get the bomb first there, Quantic? There you go.
You don't need it.
It's going to slow down this push a little bit, actually, to be completely candid, because another player actually rotated back to try to get the bomb as well. So it's a small moment, but now Penn State White is positioned where they want to be with no set nades coming overhead. So they're completely camouflaged up without any information on them whatsoever. First set nade of the round will pop open, but not find anything. And again, Penn State White is happy where they're positioned currently.
They've done this continuously, and this is where they found a really good stride on defense. Is just patiently waiting right outside the cafe. And this is what I was talking about, the patience and the execution. Who's going to give way first? Rutgers Scarlet. I mean, you even saw it because the bomb was picked up so late. They know that they're late to this party. But Penn State White, they're already playing very defensively. Smoke grenade from Reckless is going to already pop out. Nobody from Penn State moving, but here comes the rush all the way through. Players already on top of the bomb. That's Quantic. Will go down. Bomb is dropped here for the time being. Blood being spilled for both sides, heavily in the favor for Rutgers Scarlet, only for a moment's time. Pinstripe kill feed. We'll find ourselves in a 2v2. Report in Shades versus Lou and Reckless. Lou will be found by Report, who efficiently pushed all the way through the cafe, backed by the Arches of Ruins. Now Shades, along with Report, have pretty good coverage. Report's dead silence is about to be running out. Reckless does have the bomb. They look to potentially break back towards A. If not, go back through cafe. They're going to find Report if this timing is perfect, but Report is waiting around on the opposite side of the door. And
that door is going to make noise. Yeah, that's
more than enough.
Kill for Report. Yep, absolutely the case. 5-4 the score here, and maybe just not playing patient enough for a moment. As yeah, who's that coming through my kitchen? Says Report.
This porridge is too cold.
Gracious. But 5-4 again, Penn State White. This is the map that they were able to take off of Humber to 6-3 total. Looking to do the exact same thing here versus Rutgers Scarlet. It would put them up 2 maps to 0. So Rutgers, we talked about maybe having their backs up against the wall going into this map. Well, they definitely do now, having to win 2 rounds straight. And I was going to say maybe a hit over towards A here for Penn State. We haven't seen either team really opt to go that direction yet, but it won't be this time. Report mid-map, bottom cafe. Spark, you see him just over to the left. Set nades, dead silence, maybe coming through. Here comes Report making his push. He will open up the door to see if he can draw some fire for Sparky to maybe get some information. None will come. Now they're going to pinch up Reckless, who will find one opportunity for the second. Report will find the trade, fortunately. But there are still 2 players for the Scarlet Knights still in the gun shop that they need to be dealt with.
Yeah, but now the bait and switch needs to come through. You still have 2 players, one in the cafe and one over top of the rug shop. Can only imagine that Shades. Report's going to come all the way around. Fine. Protocol off the rotation, coming through construction. Now what's going to be the execution coming through? There's actually a player moving way back from the in front of the barbershop. That's Quantic up the stairs, clearing off top of rug. Senso will go down by way of Quantic's MP5 as well. Now the bomb's going to start moving the way onto the bomb site. It's Ken that does find Lou in the top of the gun shop. And now it comes down for Yachty to then go back inside said gun shop and try to keep that angle covered. Quantic's working their way all the way to the backside from the side tunnel. Ken with a well-timed jump shot will be able to kill off Quantic. Now we find ourselves in a 1v1. Port versus Yachty.
Yoda's going to make the push through. He's got dead silence, and he's going to go all the way back over to Soap. Now, here's the problem for the Rutgers Scarlet team. They know Report pushed through the back end, so he could be anywhere right now. And I don't believe they know the bomb is down. So Yoda's got to make a hopeful and desperate play. No more dead silence. He's going to be making a lot of noise coming through this tunnel. Did he see Report jump over the window, though? I think he very well may have, let alone that this concussion going off will give him the intel, so he crouches up, is moving silently now. Report is going to make a full flank. 8 seconds left. This is going to come down to time. Report has to find the kill now. But goodness gracious, too close for comfort. As there were so many moments midway through that round where I'm like, Penn State, what are we doing? You've got a player in the back. Are we trying to make him get a couple more kills? Are we rotating back over to A as he's going to try to shadow back to B? There was no good effort, and it came down to a 1v1 in about 4 seconds worth of time. And Penn State will be going up now 2 maps to 0 on Rutgers Scarlet after a 6-4. But it's been anything but tidy here tonight between these two squads.
Definitely a little sloppy, both ends. But you know what? Nothing short but exciting, Shift. I'm not gonna lie. You know, that's why S&D is probably one of my favorite game modes. You definitely go back and forth. Again, that's why I poised it. That's why I poised it just like that. Is that it's just like, you know, something's got to give eventually. Right. If you just wait for the moment's time, especially in that final round where we saw Rutgers Scarlet forget the bomb in spawn. Well, that's how Penn State White wanted to play that anyway. They're already playing patiently and already postured up. They were patiently waiting for them for Rutgers Scarlet to make the move first. And the second that something gave, well, they just collapsed all over top of it. And it's just like what we saw at the latter half of the hard point earlier on in map 1. Those early rotations and those angles were being held by Penn State White. It was just the individual gunfights that they were losing. And this time around, just all off execution, Penn State White, they find themselves up 2 maps.
Indeed they do. We'll take a look back at our set series currently as far as how the scores have gone. They've been close. We expected it to be close, but I think we expected it to be a little bit cleaner than we're currently getting, but it's been exciting, like you mentioned, nonetheless. 250-215 of the Gunrunner hardpoint for Penn State White in a comeback fashion, mind you, and quite candidly, in what I'm sure most people would read as almost a 4v5 situation, what it felt like. And then again on Ramaza, as we just completed that map in round 10 at 6-4 for Penn State White. Coming up next after the break, we'll have Hackney Yard for domination. Rutgers desperately needing to find the foothold in this series as they would love to find themselves elongating it and trying to get the reverse sweep set up. It's definitely possible. We'll find out if they can start their runoff for the reverse sweep correctly as we come back to Hackney Yard domination. Just after this. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to College COD. We're going into map number 3. Penn State White currently up 2 maps to 0. Again, the number 11 team in the top 25 going up against Rutgers number 8. And again, a battle for second place here in the Northeast. I hold shift with Proper, and it will be Hackney Yard with Penn State White spawning on the C side. Take a look at this full flood. 4 members just moving their way all the way across to A. The only player that was there to really even deal with it was, I believe, Quantic, and he got absolutely shut down. And just like that, Penn State White has already flipped the map.
The reporting code just absolutely ran them over. And that's typically what you see if you spawn on the C side of the map right off the rip of the round. Trying to force out the spawns on top of the office. I've just never seen it so dominant before. Quite crazy indeed. Protocol's right there to answer on back. Finds himself on 3. A little jump shot right there from Senso as well. Though the very awkward AC hold, but it's coming on through. There are members from Rutgers Scarlet that are spawning on 2C. Now they will try to go for the flip. Player trying to go back for the Covenant A and B hold will go down. That was Lou. And now Penn State, they have themselves an opportunity to get control of this warehouse. They have a player up on top L, though being contested here momentarily. They do have a player there on P1. We'll start the neutralizing on the B.
A nice little opportunity there for Sparky to find a couple. He's only able to take down 1, but his teammates will pick up the pieces. So now Protocol, really the only player left on this push. Mid-map won't even find anything. Ken shuts him and puts him down in his place. Lou is actually making a flip, though, of A, and I'm kind of wondering why Penn State was so passive to come back, and now all of a sudden, Sparky, you got to be careful. He gets a teammate who spawns right on top of him. You got to cut mid-map here. Fortunately, Senso and Report are doing a job in the warehouse, and now Sparky will come to make sure the B flag does not get flipped. And fortunately for Penn State, they do make sure that they hold on to the A flag as well. Nice double for Sparky, as he's been heating up all since the hard point. He's now 6-3, and Penn State will hold on to the A-B flag with a 7-point lead.
Yeah, Penn State starting off really hot here. Kind of making Rutgers Scarlet taste their own medicine of sheer aggression. Protocol able to find 3 yet again. Is on 5 straight now. 11-3 for them. Standing AR player right here. We'll be able to get a couple of shots bring through from Reckless. They find 2 back-to-back. Now they have good opportunity as spawns have flipped yet again. They get control back onto A.
Wait, Sparky just spawned right in front of A. He's got an opportunity to make a play here. If he can find the kill, he will fall. Unfortunately, couldn't catch his POV, but that was a little bit bizarre because he literally spawned in between that little stone wall and A. Right in between about 3 Rutgers members, so a little bit of chaos there. Didn't mean to cut you off, but still, Rutgers, like you mentioned, will get the flip and take the AB hold.
Oh, none taken. I too. That's why you saw it. That's why you heard me slow it up a little bit. I saw that white arrow down there. Had to double take on it. Regardless, back in the Covenant AB situation here. Rutgers Scarlet find themselves. Shades gets a good couple trades there from top L. Now the opportunity presents itself for Penn State White. Sparky clearing off top L will be gunned down there from Protocol, who's on top of the scaffolding. There were 3 members from Penn State White that were wrapping all the way outside the offices. They were met by Protocol and Quantic, yet again getting a good couple shots from themselves, and now they're spawning all the way out there. This is an opportunity now for Rutgers Scarlet. They find the neutralizing onto C. That player's just going to get the heck up out of dodge. It's going to force Penn State White to pull a member back, and now they can't fully commit to this push all the way through outside of offices. Not like it was ever going to come through as they're being gunned down in the back. It's just Ken. Those shots are going to be good from Quantic from a distance. Can't find the second on Senso in the mid.
One player has spawned up. That's going to be number 7 in Report. He's trying to make his way back over to the A flag. If we can catch his POV, a big 1v1 that he's able to actually win. So there is the A flag being neutralized and now flipped. Protocol, Quantic trying to work their way back over, but Ken from behind will take care of him. So now it's down to Report and Ken to hold things on for Penn State White, and we'll get another flip of the map. But while all this was going on, Senso actually went through, pushed into C, and got the neutralization. So Penn State White, if they can get their numbers going back over to the B flag, not only will they have the 2 flags that they want, but a small moment of neutralization will help them, again, try to get back into this game as they're all of a sudden down 18.
Ooh, look out for those toes. Protocol almost found the kill. Oh, Senso able to get the shot coming around. Now back in the AB side, back and forth, flipping on the home flag, though Penn State White still at a disadvantage as far as points are concerned. They're doing a really good job of forcing out the rotations. Now all of Rutgers Scarlet spawning into the office. Here it could be the hit that they're looking for. It's just Sparky with the defense here. Not taking a look at the right side. They're able to find 1. That was Yodi going down. Now the hit coming all through the mid. That's Shades for 2. Senso as well. Senso on 3 straight now is holding on top of P1 here, looking at the bottom L with great firm control here. This is a very power spot for an MP5. Wasn't able to find the 1 shot there onto Yodi as they trade back on top L. Although, Penn State White, playing from a disadvantage, the lead has been diminishing. Slower and slower.
The AB hold, and if they hold on to this B flag, they should be good. Protocol will take down 3. Just line him up. He'll put him down. He's got 1 more coming out of the forklift, and if he reads these spawns coming through, everyone spawned in the office for Penn State White. Such a clean wipe. Protocol's not done yet. He'll find 1, not able to turn back around for the second. You got to be careful here how you're pinching if you're looking at this from the Nittany Lions point of view. They're trying to make their way back into the warehouse, but nobody cleared the top side of the L. So Lou, he's got an opportunity, but goes to the nade instead of the gun, and he won't find a kill. It'd be a small mistake there, but Protocol, who comes back through, he'll find another 2-piece. He's 21-10, and with that, Rutgers will hold on to the B flag narrowly and take a little bit of a substantial lead going into the second half.
Very impressive there. Protocol again, double positive. 23-11 they are here into the second half. Quite the showcasing there from the standing AR player here on Hackney Yard domination. Though Penn State White, again, showcasing how they've been able to turn their committed rotations into map advantage. It is very, very close here. And Rutgers Scarlet, they're not out of it yet. If I do believe that it will be Penn State White spawning on the A side this time around. It's going to have to come down to Rutgers Scarlet to do the same thing that Penn State White found themselves on early on in round number 1 here shift, and that's rushing all the way through the office side or fully committing into B early on.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Again, just a marginal lead of just underneath 20 points. Scoreboard will leave us for this half, so we'll do what we can to try to keep track of how much more protocol pops off here going into it. See a couple of trophies and a couple of dead silences available. Protocol wants to go over through the back alley, but with his AR, he'll just go ahead and mantle up and try to watch the cross by the AC. Reckless with first blood onto Ken, and Penn State White has actually bottled up and played very defensively. So Senso was the only player really to kind of help out against this push from Rutgers. Now it's on to Report to come in and try to make a solo play. Don't agree with that solo challenge into what was 4 members of Rutgers. And like you mentioned, it was either going to have to be a full hit through the A side of the map or try to get the warehouse. They take the warehouse. Yodi not done yet as he finds himself a second kill. And now it's just down to for Penn State. What do? You spawn by the office. Do you cut mid-map? Do you try to work over towards B from behind, or you just go through the front door?
Yeah, I just don't necessarily understand why you would still commit a player to rushing down in offices while you had one in useless. The very top right-hand side of your map there was a player for Penn State White. That's where they all ended up spawning, and I think it was only maybe 1, if not 2 players that committed into the B rush against Rutgers Scarlet, who had 3, obviously being outgunned there that time around. Though being able to answer back, spawns coming through here for a time being. There is a player here that will be gunned down outside of the smokestack. I believe that was Sparky. Able to get a little bit of pressure off from the warehouse, though it is not enough. All of Penn State White spawning inside the office. Will be a player going towards the outside and behind smokestacks to try to commit to maybe a neutralizing on the C. That was Sparky yet again. Will be gunned down by Quantic.
Oh, this is disastrous. It's going to be an A neutralization, and there is still one more player here. It's Lou. He'll take down one, not the second, but again, Rutgers was so much pressure mid-map. Penn State has not been responding to it at all. It looks like a completely different squad from the first half. Now they have to back on up towards the B flag to make sure that they can put it back into their favor as it had been neutralized. But it's 130 to 101. Fortunately for Penn State, they get one player to go over towards the C flag, but you can see their spawns are by useless. You've got to cut mid-map here. You cannot be sitting up by useless as the spawns will flip against your will, which exactly happens. Although Rutgers, who have completely bottled themselves in the warehouse, have not made a move to A until Quantic crosses the streak, and he gets punished for doing so. It's going to be up to Shades to hold on to this. And for Penn State, you got to send him some help. And, well, it's not going to get there in time. Rutgers was likely a flip, but I say that, and 2 members spawned office, and instead of going back to the A flag, Rutgers decided to push through for C.
Yeah, the spawn's completely awry there. Going every single place, and that's why you hear Shift ringing on about it. Is you cannot go past. You got to split the mid-map so your spawns can at least be in a shot's distance, where an MP5 can feel very effective, as we know Hackney Yard is controlled by that alone. Quantic will be gunned down again, trying to favor the nade. Sparky with top L control is having themselves a pretty good time here. Penn State White still encroaching on this lead. Rutgers Scarlet not completely out of it yet. Out of all of that big scuffle going back and forth as far as home flags are concerned. Now Rutgers Scarlet only find themselves with C. Penn State now with the AB hold.
Fourth quarter coming into play here. Final 3 minutes. Report and Penn finding the first 2 kills to fend off this push from the Scarlet Knights. It'll go successfully. Senso will be able to find down protocol mid-map. And with that, Report will essentially find the full 5-man wipe. And again, for Rutgers, solo challenges. Here comes Quantic by himself. He gets killed. Here comes Reckless by himself. Will hold his life for now, very wisely so. Penn State, though, have completely bunkered up, and they are in the positions they want to be. No one's hitting mid-map here for the Scarlet Knights. Reckless will fall. Shades will get the credit with the kill report, finding a lot of damage to a player top L. Yodi will be able to find the kill, and maybe an opportunity here for Rutgers to come on through as Lou finds one more. But you got to put some pressure mid-map and not only find this B flip, but even better if you can start pushing through the map. 149, 147, and Penn State, what about the top of the game?
Yeah, Shades really needed to come on top of that gunfight, the lone survivor, to try to fend off on B. You see now there are 2 players for Penn State White over by C. Could be going for the neutralizing over there, but they're going to have to commit perhaps to a full flip. Sparky, good thing that they won that gunfight, so that way they can keep flipping out of the home flag. But I don't think they're aware. Now they will be aware fully that the A flag will be neutralized. It will be a full-on pincer and a blood coming in. Shades will get traded out, though it's not coming through for Penn State White. They didn't fully commit to capturing C, so now they have players on A. Ken will be gunned down after trying to capture that one in their favor. Same thing happened back on B by a few players for Penn State White. Now they are finally going to be able to capture onto C. And you almost got to think with 1 minute and 27 seconds that this game of domination, Hackney Yard, is starting to slip through the fingertips of Penn State White.
They got to get a flag right now. There are 2 members by the warehouse. You see number 0 is Senso. He's trying to work all the way around the back. Quantic will sniff him out. Report now trying to make his way back over to the B flag, but gets pitched up, and Yeah, you have to flip this B flag now. Ken with a big opportunity. He's got one up top of the scaffold. That'll be good for the first kill. Looking for the second, but it's a set nade that comes through and takes him down. At least fortunately, Shades was able to find the kill, but nobody was able to take care of Reckless. And that'll be enough for them to slip one player out to get maybe a neutralization of the C flag. It's the Rutgers Scarlet Knights will come through map 3 on Hackney Yard, but my goodness, mistakes left, right, and center for both teams as Penn State White just not able to respond to their spawns by the office. They could never fully commit. Really, both teams could not fully commit to, are we going to go and try to neutralize C? Are we going to try to fall back and get our spawns closer to the A and B? And it ended up losing out a massive opportunity for the Nittany Lions of Penn State. And this one will go to map number 4 as Rutgers will survive with probably right around a 20-point differential.
Just tumbling back and forth all the way through all of those mishaps that happened as far as forcing out spawns, especially where you didn't want them to for both these teams. Which is very interesting early start to the second half for Penn State White of how they wanted to go for that split. You almost have to think that with the lead not being as big as it was for Rutgers Scarlet, they were going to try to commit to a full B rush. Typically, you will see it played out how Rutgers Scarlet started out their second half, where you put your lone AR, which is protocol at this time, on top of the office side, right outside the smokestack to try to force out the spawns early on. But trying to get a little cheeky there, and perhaps with a flip of spawns, perhaps for C. Still questioning it as, you know, typically you want to be holding on for A, B, but so far, all the way since the hardpoint shift, Penn State White, they haven't been shining through as far as 1v1 mechanical gunfight is concerned. They've been able to come out on top for rotations, winning out in numbers that they almost forgot about that heading into the domination, especially for the second half.
Yeah, Protocol with 41 kills, 24 deaths, and Yodi broke 30. Lou not too far behind. A solid team effort there for Rutgers. But again, I'm not going to lie to you here, Proper. I was expecting cleaner Modern Warfare from both of these two teams. And so far, we've seen a number of vulnerabilities. And, you know, maybe there's some silver lining. We're still only about halfway through the regular season, if that, as we get into, again, what will be, I think, 9 total weeks worth of CCL. I think this is what, week 5 as we're jumping into it here. So again, right in the middle of the entirety of this regular season, and maybe some silver linings, like I mentioned, because you go back, you take a look and say, okay, here are our giant gaping holes, our giant vulnerabilities. If we can clean just a couple of those things up, we'll be in a prime spot, not only for playoffs, maybe even to battle up against that Humber squad in our Northeastern Division if we meet them again in the playoffs, which you anticipate that both these teams will likely be there. Again, just kind of updates around the Northeastern Division. York University was playing up against Humber today, and they're getting absolutely smoked. So 4-1 was what they were at win-loss-wise. That's going to be a 4-2 most likely, which then leaves Penn State Blue, RIT, Maryland, and TESPA, TESPA Carleton are the only other teams that are going to be up there in the top 8 currently. So some work has to be done. You know, I think for both of these teams, as they will be going up against teams like Carleton, the other Penn State squad, as well as RIT, you know, potential there, I think, for some upsets is simply due to the fact that we've seen a lot of these vulnerabilities from both squads.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, Humber is one of those teams that if you present with all of these mistakes, Rutgers or Penn State White, depending, well, they are the ones that are going to absolutely turn that back into your face with a decisive victory. So go ahead and take a look at the map set and score as far as we got here. And where we're headed even next was that 250-215, very close hard point that we saw Penn State White come out on top of. Very interesting to the end of Search and Destroy Ramaza, of again where Penn State came out on top of that 6-4. And then we found Rutgers Scarlet coming to life, 193-168, just previously on that map for Hackney Yard domination. We'll be staying here on Hackney Yard, so we'll be heading into hardpoint shift. And well, I got to say, coming off of that early hardpoint for Rutgers Scarlet, I think that they're going to have to be a little bit more cautious as, again, for Penn State White. Sparky seemed to be warming up, though they didn't have at least of a stellar domination comparatively as they did as big from their hardpoint. The you almost have to be concerned with, but the same thing goes for Penn State White, that they have to be very concerned, because going back to the original hardpoint, the first map that we played here tonight shift, I mean, Reckless went off for 39 and 31, and Protocol's only been getting hotter and hotter as the night's been going on. Again, 41 and 24 off that Dom, 34 and 26 on that first hardpoint of Gunrunner, and you can only imagine hopping into Hackney Yard where you have that longer sightline available through a multitude of the rotations, where a good AR could be ringing on true, that you have to get through the juggernaut that is Protocol.
Yeah, and interested again to see who spawns on the favored side closest to that warehouse on the right-hand side of the map in that tire shop. That's going to be a pivotal first opening hill. I mean, again, if you do this correctly from the favorite side of the map, you should be up right around 60, 70 points or so, maybe 80 if you're feeling really feisty on that first hill. If you can find a way to get yourself going on those first 2 hard points, you can find yourself a sizable opening lead. But we'll exactly see how that comes to be, as at least on our end, we're looking at a back screen. There we go. But that's what I'm most interested with. Again, with Penn State having a really rough go with it, you know, early on Gunrunner, not getting a lot of participation out of Sparky. He's absolutely started to show up here in that last Hackney Yard, and unfortunately for him, in a losing effort. But if you don't want to get reverse swept, I think you need to be coming out with that full 5 once again to get yourself going on Hackney Yard. And can you find a way, if you're not spawning on the P2 side, to get an early contest, or at worst case scenario, get some significant time on the first hill to, again, mitigate how strong of a position that second hard point is on this map?
Even going back to, or just to play devil's advocate here, Shift, there's also a handful of points for hardpoint Hackney Yard that I like to call swing points. Most infamously, right above the tire shop. You started talking about earlier on, right outside of, well, the ADOM site, right above it, rather, is P2. And that could be more than a swing point. You can get a full 60 there time and time again that you could really be forcing out later rotations to where the next hard point goes, which is inside the smokestack. And that can make the enemy team and their spawns kind of go awry as far as how they're trying to set up for the upcoming, if they're trying to get a break to come through, or if they're trying to get a switch for rotations later on into that smokestack. It can kind of make things a little bit crazy, because we talked about it on Domination with Hackney Yard, splitting that mid-map, that if you are for that team that is in control of P2 and you can find your way through the warehouse over by yellow and you can get those spawns out by the doghouse, you can really catch the enemy team that's playing from behind really off guard and get about a good 40, if not 60, between P2 and P3.
Yeah, and again, going back to some of the things that, you know, playing up against this Humber squad, both of these teams really not doing that well in the hard points versus the team, versus that, you know, big powerhouse, again, the reigning champions. Coming out of season number 1 in the Northeastern Division. But in this one, again, a pivotal battle to find out who exactly will cement themselves as the number 2 in this division and who will have to live to fight another day to get through the rest of this. And again, both of these teams, neither of them have played this Carleton squad yet. I don't believe. I think maybe Rutgers Scarlet did. But regardless, I know for a fact that Penn State White will not play up against Carleton, I think, until later this week. I think I'm not 100% sure. I don't know why I'm even bothering trying to figure that out. But regardless, we will be jumping back into this one again, potentially for Penn State White to close things out. Otherwise, Rutgers Scarlet trying to keep the reverse sweep hopes alive. We'll find out exactly what occurs when we come back from map number 4 just after this. Welcome back to College COD, dealing with map number 4. It was a 2-map start for Penn State White, but Rutgers Scarlet make their way through the Hackney Yard domination. And so we'll stay on Hackney Yard, but switch the mode to hardpoint. And how about this for Rutgers? They will actually spawn on the favored side. You see protocol number 2 in mid-map all the way back in useless to make sure no push-through happens. So this is a big opportunity here, again, with numbers coming in for Penn State White to the warehouse. If they can win these trades, they may be able to find some early significant time, knowing this will be a 5v4 time and time again. But the kills have not been good so far, as you see Rutgers all over the kill feed. They will at least mitigate and negate any time from being processed whatsoever, and that's all good for Rutgers if they hold on to the P2 spawns.
And a player hanging out up by useless, and then the spawn started coming over on the top side for Rutgers Scarlet. This will be good for P2, but Penn State White get the break like you were talking about. The kill's not coming through for them. Gonna get Penn State White control of P1. It's gonna be a little bit difficult for Rutgers Scarlet to break on through, so you're gonna have the player working the way up in the top L. Will be met there. It's gonna be report. Gonna be Lou now going back towards the mid. The scrap time will be going towards Rutgers Scarlet, but this is all really good for Penn State White. You see the white arrows on your mini-map on the right-hand side, flooding inside the tire shop already. Those spawns for Rutgers Scarlet are still on top of useless. Penn State White all the way outside back yellow now that they're winning the fight off of old. It's not exactly what they were looking for, considering that they had a few members already onto the P2.
Look, if you win the first 2, we'll say 3 engagements as definitively as Rutgers does, there really should be no reason to allow Penn State White to rotate that quickly. Fortunately, the Scarlet Knights do recover, but it comes at a pretty steep cost. Again, 45 seconds of time for Penn State White. That's great for them, although they're getting completely stranglehold from making any movement whatsoever across the street over towards P2. Protocol on 4 straight all of a sudden. We'll probably get it lined up for a 5th under report, sure will. And now all of a sudden for Rutgers, it looks like they're going to hold at least the majority of time, but careful in this rotation if you're the Scarlet Knights. This is very, very quick for them. There's still 30 seconds worth of time here. I guess fortunately for them, Penn State White have seemed to given up as far as busting through for P2. So the rotation on such an early pace here for Rutgers Scarlet will pay out for them to get a little bit of pressure mid-map and maybe string together this scrap time into some early time of the smokestack. But it will look to be a 67 to 45 point game after 2.
And there's going to be one player for Penn State White heading into P3, but I really got to be winning out on that one report, whether or not there were footsteps coming through from Protocol or not. Very unfortunate. Nevertheless, spawns coming through from Penn State White. Quite fortunate for them. They're all getting inside the dock house. It's P5 that they're spawning in right now. However, not winning the gunfights right outside on top of the smokestack. Rutgers Scarlet finding themselves again on top. Protocol now for 9. They're at 10 and 2. There's a player on the back of yellow, gets the wrap around the bait and switch. Not perfectly timed, as it was Shades on the backside inside the docks. Dockhouse able to get that kill off, however. Reckless again on the hard point. They're at 14 to 4, 3 straight for them. Doing quite well yet again early on. This is what we saw early on in Hardpoint Gunrunner, our first map of the set shift. Rutgers Scarlet starting off the rip, quite strong, winning off the gunfights. Penn State White, they need to regain themselves off of spawns and regroup and set up an early break. It's going to have to wait for the next hill. They are coming off that spawn and inside the offices, which P4 resides.
And Rutgers, they influence the spawns for P5. There's really no reason for it to occur. Again, Shades goes into yellow, but the rest of his teammates are not focused on the warehouse rotation or the hill itself. They were more focused on making sure they kept the P5 spawn through the back alley. Right. This has not gone well for them. So what was the scrap time of P2 turned into most of the time on P3, and the scrap time of that now turning into the initial time here on P4 for Rutgers. This is borderline about 110 points straight, all of it favoring Rutgers Scarlet, and they're not looking to give up any of that time anytime soon. As you see, Protocol watching from top third will just make sure nobody hits the jump ball. He's going to get a free kill here, no problem. Protocol at 15 and 4 with 5 kills straight. And it looks like eventually Penn State will break into P4 in the office, but they still have to get through the spawn for P5 before this gets out of hand.
Oh, get that drop shot. Protocol will be traded out. Look at all the kills. Only Quanic one is going to be the one in double digits for kills, though they're still at 15 and 11. Good set of kills coming through from Senso. They're on 7 straight, 13 and 10 for themselves. Sitting up on top of P5, trying to influence a little bit of some for them, as Penn State will get the scrap time. They're on to P4. But you said it yourself, those spawns were influenced, it almost seems, forever ago for Rutgers Scarlet. They were more than ready for the dock building that P5 is now currently in. Shots from Protocol right over the top. What a snap coming through. Get out of my window, Sparky.
Oh, man.
What are you doing in there?
Not looking good for Penn State White. 7 and 17, 8 and 18, 7 and 15 for 3 members. It's just all the outslaying currently of Rutgers, and it's come off the back end of some very ambitious timings when it comes to rotating for things like the spawns. But again, P5 held by the control of the Scarlet Knights. We're going to be looking at what will be right around a 180 to 87 lead, 100-point near gap as we get ready for the next set. As report will find one with the nade, one with the MP5, not going to get the third with the pistol. Call him the jack of all trades if he finds all 3, but this time he doesn't. And it will be a new hard point opening up, at least initially, in favor of the Penn State Nittany Lions. But again, there's so many Scarlet Knight members here, they're going to be able to bust right through this. And again, with the numbers, as long as they can find the kill into Shades, they should break. But that will not happen here as Shades finds a double.
Shades has to live out their life here, has to play it flawlessly as players are spawning out by the police car. There's a player on the other side of office. Shades now on 5 straight. The M4 player will go down. Unfortunate, that's going to be their teammate that puts him down. But Rutgers Scarlet not being able to get the breakthrough they're looking for, though the flood's going to be able to come through all the way from bottom L. There's a couple players there on top and outside of P1. Will be able to get the break that they need. Reckless now for 2. And now they're going to be able to put themselves here for the scrap time, though. Take a look at the spawns here. Shift right outside Useless. Penn State White find themselves in the spawn advantage. They're going to put a player on top of P2, setting themselves up. And throw out the trophy system right outside of the forklift. And what are these shots from Yodi? They actually kind of...
What am I watching from Penn State White? Sparky had a great position outside the exit to the warehouse, and he just pushed through into the middle of 4 Scarlet Knights members. Unfortunately, Penn State White, due to sticky spawns, will still get the spawn by Useless, but still the kills are looking good for Rutgers, and they will start to spawn Penn State out. my goodness, I don't really know what to say here, Andy. This Penn State squad is completely lost when it comes to rotating and playing angles together. And with that, Rutgers have broken through the hill at 35 seconds, and now they have the potential of putting this one completely out of reach. Shades has to play a pivotal role to watch the players off spawn from useless. You'll only find one and then catch a nade. And with that, the final 20 seconds should go the way of Rutgers, who are now looking to rotate through the back alley. Again, a very ambitious rotation with just 2 players, but the timing of it was a little bit better this time around. And with this, it'll be 240 to 132. Penn State White are looking completely caught off guard with this rotation from 2 to 3.
Now you have to set yourself up for the smokestacks and play this one, well, perfectly. 240 to 135 as we head back over to the smokestacks. Penn State White in control of the office. Good shots from McCoy. They're on 4 straight, 16 and 28, however, from the MP5 player, Penn State White. All of the spawns coming through inside the warehouse. Mid-map control not going to be able to be there. This report goes down. Rutgers Scarlet now trying to encroach forward towards the smokestacks, shooting some bodies for extra measures, I suppose. Now these shots are going to be able to ring on true, spawning outside of yellow. Got to be able to put yourselves on here, however. Nobody on for either team inside the smokestacks. All players from Rutgers Scarlet still coming outside the warehouse, while Penn State are trying to flood in and around the smokestack and from yellow building themselves.
Just about everybody positive or even for Rutgers. 242, 155. This very well could be the ends. Penn State spawning outside the office, has to get there to touch. One more good attempt at it. Still Rutgers players that can come through and clean up. They'll do just that. And well, I would start saying go to your linen closets, find your broomsticks, because we're looking at a potential reverse sweep. And after what that just looked like from Penn State White, it's just, again, where's the coordination that you had mostly through the gunrunner hardpoint? They looked a lot better as far as being able to understand the rotations, but goodness gracious, I mean, you know, give credit where credit's deserved. Rutgers Scarlet absolutely handled Penn State White. Granted that they were giving a lot of presence early on a lot of these rotations, but regardless, for Penn State, that was just not what you want to see.
I mean, you said it so wonderfully, and with a lot of power and emotion itself too. It's just, how many times was it? Like maybe 3 times that we saw an early rotation come through for a handful of hard points for Penn State White, but then they took that spawn advantage that they had and just basically, well, threw it out the window quite literally and started pushing forward and losing out the gunfights when they could have had an easy setup for the rotating out hard point. But and that's exactly what they did so well back on S&D Ramaza, back on Hardpoint Gunrunner, which if you remember back on Hardpoint Gunrunner, which is a 250 to 215 off the latter half of that map alone, to where Penn State were able to come back, that they could have completely avoided this map 5 situation. And well, Rutgers Scarlet, like you said, might be reaching inside the broom closet, and they have themselves some standing brooms.
Indeed, we'll take a look at what our set has looked like. You mentioned the first hardpoint, 250, 215. It was then a 6-4 for Penn State White. They really kind of set the pace mostly throughout that Ramaza search and destroy. They hacked our domination, though. They got a couple of opportunities that went wrong for Penn State White to close this set out. Rutgers taking the advantage, and then again, like we just previously saw, is able to smoke through Penn State White on that Hackney Yard hardpoint. We'll go to the Arklov Peak search and destroy next. And goodness, you really got to find a regain here if you're Penn State. And now we're going to get AR gunplay pretty much exclusively for, I would say, at least 8 of the 10 players on the field, if not more. And beyond that, we're also going to see how sniper rifles can maybe impact this series for the first time. And again, we haven't had a chance to see how Penn State has looked, not only with snipers, but also do they have more ARs that could match up against players like Lou and Protocol for the side of Rutgers, because that's what we're expecting to see, at least those two carrying ARs or longer when it comes to sniper rifles as we get to map number 5.
I mean, yeah, Shades has been positive the past few maps, just win 28 and 19, then a loss. They're on Hackney for Hardpoint, and win 28 and 24 on Domination on Hackney as well. So, I mean, could potentially find themselves some certain angles to be found, but when the rest of the team's running ARs, when you have that one MP5, and well, you said it wonderfully too, my friend, when the AX50s or HDRs come out to play too, how are you going to match up to the rest of the team of Rutgers Scarlet? I can only imagine it would probably be reckless picking up the AX50 coming from Rutgers Scarlet itself. And well, Penn State White haven't been able to meet them in the MP5 bout. They've been kind of a little bit behind as far as AR bouts are concerned, considering you're going up against Lou and Protocol. Protocol having themselves of a time 34 and 13 in that previous map itself. But I think in the slowing of the pace, when you go back to Ramaza, And then you saw there on the latter half of Gunrunner that when we had Penn State White take a step back, take their respawns, although that whole idea of respawns is out the window because it is S&D. But when they're able to slow up the tempo, they do look really good when they're basically waiting for Rutgers Scarlet to give up, to kind of force out an error from themselves as far as positioning. When Rutgers Scarlet are trying to find a member off guard from Penn State White is when Penn State White had that angle covered and they were able to find numbers in their advantage.
Well, we'll see what occurs here. We're about ready to go for Arklov Peak for the search and destroy. And, well, all of those that are looking on from New Brunswick, New Jersey are hoping for a reverse sweep here from Rutgers University. Again, maybe this shouldn't have even gone to map 4 for one reason or another. If Penn State White could have secured the domination with their subtle mistakes, this one would have been over, let alone if you look at the other side of things. If Rutgers were able to close out the first map, they would have found themselves a 3-1. But regardless, we're looking at the first elongated series that either of these two teams have played. Neither of them have experienced the Game 5 yet. And so maybe you look at Rutgers, you know, the veterans coming out of the last season. This is a brand new CCL team in Penn State, let alone the fact they've got a second one as well. Does this come into play as far as that veteranship and experience? Or does it just come down to, you know, who can reset their squad and say, it just comes down to one map, search and destroy, let's get it going. That's all that matters at this point in time. Doesn't matter what happened in map 1 or map 2 if you're Rutgers. It doesn't matter what happened in the most recent hard point if you're Penn State White. Countdown is going. It comes down to one more map. Will it go the distance to round 11, or will we see maybe Rutgers being able to complete this one a little bit faster in reverse sweep fashion? Penn State desperately needing to find a way to recollect themselves as we'll jump into map 5, Arklov Peak.
Here's the scary thing as well, is that when you get down to that map 5, you talk about the veteranship, you talk about how much stamina that you could potentially have for each member individually or as a team for a whole. I feel like every time you and me shift that we get to this map 5 situation on Arklov Peak, it always ends at a 6-0. I hope that that's not necessarily the curse that comes along with me covering this game for either Penn State White or Rutgers Scarlet. Only time will tell. Rutgers Scarlet on offense first. There's Yodi with the bomb. Going to be a couple of set nades being chucked over on both sides. Smoke in between the trench there. The bomb's starting to move on forward, but you take a look at the mini-map. There's a player for Penn State White working their way all the way on the outside.
Yeah, and it just comes down to if this Penn State White team can fend off this initial hit, which they've done successfully for the most part. That flank will be a little bit more utilized. A couple of bullets being exchanged back there. That's Reckless who's helping out. Quantic tries to come back and make sure that Shades can't find anything, and he will kind of concede his flank. Now you take a look at Protocol, who's mid-map looking to maybe isolate this player on the flank, and if they find that kill, maybe you've got an opportunity to hit mid-map. But the biggest problem in all of this is the simple fact that the bomb, you can see it, has been dropped all the way up by A. And with Shades finding a kill on that flank, Rutgers is completely bottled up backside of this A broken building.
Yeah, and now you have to dedicate at least one member to covering your mid side because you know Shades is working their way on the outside. However, they have fully stopped. And this is what I was talking about. It's so scary against Penn State. Going back to Ramaza, they're not afraid to just sit there and make you come to them. Well, quite literally, you have to, considering you're on offense, Rutgers Scarlet. Sparky now finding themselves all the way on the backside. Start working their way on the outside. Shades will go down by way of lose AR, finally putting that to the stop. Senso on the front end. See them right through the X-ray. Is prone on the backside of that truck. Thinking twice about it is Reckless. Now we'll be able to stick the plant. Lou finds 2 in the back. Running to Sparky. Good shots ring on true. Though Senso on the front end puts it in a 1v1. Senso versus Lou. Lou's found 2 in this round alone, so is Senso. So you know it's even odds across the board.
See the nade coming over towards Lou's right, not going to find any information. Senso's going to push. He's got Jet Sound. He's going to let it go, and he's able to find Lou. Plenty of time to get back and defuse, and I don't think Lou in a million years would have expected him to get pushed. And so Senso will take 3 with him this opening round and save the opening round as well. Get in the defuse, and Penn State White go up 1 map, or pardon me, not 1 map, 1 round to 0.
So it's the fastest round turn into a map I've ever seen in my entire...
right?
You've never seen S&D so blitzkrieg before. However, though, this is what I was talking about. It's very scary against Penn State. They're, again, not afraid to slow up the tempo and make that their win condition every single time. Senso holding a well-trained angle, prone just right outside the ditch. It'll turn it into 3 now. Them on offense, Penn State White. Gonna be able to put down a good trophy system, keep them safe for a few set nades come through. It's going to be a very good and even split 4v1. Senso gonna be able to find a well-trained angle and first blood on a protocol early on, and I like that push from Report, so that way they can cover the mid scoop as well. In case any members from Rutgers Scarlet push on through, they won't, as the rest of them are all set up on the other side of the trenches and hostile.
And this feels like a play that Penn State is waiting for a pick from either set nades or potentially from Shades from the B side of the map. But since he didn't find anything initially, you can see based on the way he's looking by his arrow, he's actually just watching the flank currently. You also got Report, who's pushed up pretty far through the mid-building connector. It's number 8 there. He's got a player right around the corner of Quantic, and they will have a little bit of a fight. Report will take it. So now maybe an opportunity to swing this bomb back over to the B site. Nice shots there from Lou, as he was able to scope out Sensa before things got a little bit too hairy for him. But Ken, he's got the bomb dead silence. He's making the play on forward. He'll find one. A second was again further back in the trench. That's Lou, who will take down his support of Sparky. And you can see Report on the X-ray trying to make his way through the mid-cut. You've also got Reckless coming from behind, though. Lou keeping his life is massive. And now you're looking at Reckless to make a play from behind. He'll find one. And just like that, a 2v1 situation. Ken getting the bomb down, has to find the kill. And he'll find the first. 1v1. Ken on Lou. And Lou, is he going to try to stick this?
He's going to. And Ken's not going to be aware of this. Ken's not going to be able to make it around in time. They're not even going to go to check. And that's going to be the Ninja Defuse right there. Pistol shots in the air. Might as well be fireworks coming out of the barrel of that pistol. And wowie, evening things up. Just when you thought that it wasn't going to be able to come that way, Ken wins a very hairy 1v1 close range proximity versus Reckless. But, yeesh.
That's tough.
That hurts. I felt that one.
Going into this next round here, again, Rutgers off the rip. Having a little bit of trouble finding out who wants to carry the bomb, as Yodi had to go back for it again. But it'll be a 5-man hit over to A. Who's sniping is the question. Protocol not going to expect Ken getting through the middle. He will be traded, but again, that first blood is actually maybe bigger than it may look for Penn State White. That's until Report gets a little bit too big for his britches. So now it's just down to one player sitting on the A site. And Shades is going to have to rotate over from B. He's going to take the long way around. And the other player for Penn State defensively at A is actually in the backside of the trench. That's Sparky. Bomb's going to get planted. Smoke cover is good. Nades to try to give a little bit of extra space, also appreciated. Shots through the bomb, though, for Sparky. Will find a response kill. So 3-on-3. Bomb, though, planted. Gives a slight advantage to Rutgers. And Sparky will duck underneath just in time to keep his life. But again, we've got Lou and Reckless trying to battle up and see if they can make this 2v3 come to life here for Rutgers. Senso and Shades looking to get aggressive long-range shots or decent for Sparky, who you would like to see hop the bomb here since his teammates have to push on forward. Shades will find the kill, and the defuse will come with plenty of time. Penn State find themselves a second successful defense.
Great execution there from Penn State. Being able to hold my angles and well-trained shots, too. I mean, especially for Sparky. It's had themselves quite the shaky start for the entirety of the series. Can't go unspoken that 15-35 hard point, 12-26 for the second hard point too. Now with the M4 in their hands. Looking quite strong along with their team. I don't believe I've seen a single sniper come out from Penn State White thus far. They've been doing it quite well. Again, their strength and their win condition lies, forcing Rutgers Scarlet to make a move and to have the angle already well trained, catching them off guard. Lou is at 5-2, asking for help from the rest of their team. I can only imagine. Penn State White just playing very well. They will go for the 4-1 split that they found success in the previous round. And have one player in the mid there for Rutgers Scarlet. One all the way on the outside and one inside the house on top of B. Traditionally, you probably have Lou hanging out on top or right outside that trench area. Smoke's going to be able to cover Ken as they just push on forward inside the mid. Waiting for somebody to push on through, though it is Shades that goes down. Rutgers Scarlet find first blood early.
Still a lot of pressure here for Penn State, and the long flank coming out for Quantic is going to be very slow, as he's all the way by the church. You see him number 4 on your mini-map. He's got Reckless inside the B bomb site and Protocol, who's not too far outside. So this is only 2 players here defensively for Rutgers. Shots will kind of be exchanged over the middle of the map. Sparky hoping to lock down a long line of sight, but again, you got to wonder, when does Quantic get the trigger to make this move down the flank? He's going to have to go quickly. Ken, again, copy-paste what he does the last round offensively, finds a free kill, will be traded. Not a lot of AR support there for Penn State, as you see Sparky in a very unfortunate game of tag, mostly against his favor. Senso will clean up the trench, but here comes the flank from Quantic behind. He will likely find Sparky without much problem unless he gets his spidey senses tingling. But how about this? With Senso having a big play through the trench, it'll be left with a 1v2. Senso would have to find 4 kills this round, though, to find the security here for Penn State. And he's in a tough spot with only 23 seconds to play with.
Doesn't have the bomb either.
Yeah.
Gotta make something magical happen here, and it's not like Quantic give up this position for free, though you know Reckless would live up to their name and potentially go for its last blood here. Doesn't have time to grab the bomb. Quantic's just gonna go ahead and put their head away, and all members of Rutgers Scarlet will remain safe. You don't have enough time for that, bud. I'm sorry. Rutgers Scarlet will win back-to-back rounds, and ultimately, what I'm most impressed with coming out of that round shift is how you dropped a Marvel reference, and yet again, Shift being the one furthest away from a comic book fan. God dang, I'm impressed.
Wait, what did I say?
His spidey senses were tingling.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here like, wait, I did?
Yeah.
Good for me, I suppose.
I am honestly impressed, but what I'm even more impressed is that Rutgers Scarlet were able to play patiently enough to be able to turn that into a round victory. A much-needed round to even things up here. I love these early trophy systems that teams have been adapting for to save themselves from some set nades. We've seen all the way up to the CDL, so many teams dying off early from those set nades coming out. But though it is Yodi with well-trained shots, finds Ken. Protocol will be able to get the regen here at mid. Won't be able to be fully challenged. I believe that was Ken that pushed on super far forward. It was. It got gunned down because of it.
Protocol getting a little bit of help in that first engagement. Now looking to maybe make a play through the mid cut. You see number 4 again, Quantic. We hit his perspective. He's all the way in the backside of this flank, and Shades was hinting to go over to try to watch the backside of the B bomb site, but he's feeling pretty secure. Maybe his teammate inside the B bomb site itself was saying, I'm good, go back over to A. Now all of a sudden, Quantic, if he could find some information, it would be great, and that nade is just a touch too short, but nobody calls it out, so Quantic will find one. Now the pinch has to come through. Where is the pinch happening at? You see Yodi's taking his sweet time to come back through. Reckless will find one more. But is it too slow here for Rutgers? They should have found not only free kills, but they should have had good control of the bomb site. So it's a 2v4. Bomb planted, still big advantage here for Rutgers, but there's some space to work with here if you're Penn State White.
Nade a little bit. Overthrown there. Setup was a little bit clean, but the shots from Yodi even better from their MP5 Shades. Now at the top of the hostel has to make a dream and a miracle come through as all members that were alive were shooting up in that window. Rutgers Scarlet winning 2 in sequence, put themselves up 3-2 now shift, and Penn State White and Baxter against the wall yet again. Gonna have to see if they can come back. They did it all the way back in Ramaza. Gonna have to see if they can tighten things up here on Arklov Peak.
3 rounds away though from the reverse sweep for Rutgers. Lou at 6-3. Everybody else sitting right at, if not just below, positive. On the other side of the board, it's mostly been Senso doing a lot of the work for Penn State, and you feel like that's got to change, especially the fact that they're not bringing a sniper rifle to the table here.
Right.
If you're going to be playing without a scope, you really got to find ways to get good execute calls, whether it's because of set nades towards the mound or just good concealed dead silence pushes through maybe the trench or something. A couple of nades will go out overhead. Senso, that was nicely placed, but just a touch short of where Yodi was. I believe he had some good cover from the fence to make sure he wasn't figured out. Watch out for Quantic here for Scarlet. He's right on the other side of this broken building, and he'll be the first one up. Report will toss a smoke, and here comes the push over, and how about this? Are they just going to push completely through, maybe fling the map over towards the B side? Looks like the answer will be no. Report in a very inconspicuous spot. Will not have any intel on the player on the right side. Again, Quantic used that smoke to reposition himself. And depending on the timing of this, it could go very well for really either team. Just comes down to who finds the first kill.
Quantic can't move, otherwise it's going to be Report that finds him out. Report inchworming forward. Got to be careful of that angle. Oh, man, this is just so tense. My feet are sweating about it, too. There it comes through. However, it's Quantic that goes down. Ken finds the shot, though. The return from Yodi and their AR able to find Ken. So, in a 4v4, Senso still holds the bomb. To be able to stick the plan, they're able to find a Report peeping over top of the box. Luz finds those shots. Yodi able to find Senso soon after. Now it comes down to Sparky, the lone survivor that is sitting here with an AX-50. There's the scope that we were wondering where it's been at the entire time. Unable to find all 4 remaining members of Rutgers Scarlet, and now Rutgers Scarlet putting themselves up 2 points here at our final S&D map of Arklov Peak.
Flat out, Report needs to win that 1v1 versus Lou. You saw the trophy system down. You should know there's a player sitting outside the trench. And I want to say he had a concussion as well. So even if he destroys that trophy and throws a concussion, he'll get some information. And again, you had Sparky with the scope. that was an easy isolation of that player. You just got to play patiently, wait for him to peek, and Lou just smokes him off the bomb site heady. So now going into round number 7, a big advantage here for Rutgers Scarlet. Up the 2-round differential, obviously, but if they can find a way to go up 5-2, you're feeling good about your chances to reverse sweep. Maybe you can do something a little bit cheeky as you got rounds to play with. This time through, though, again, a 5-man stack over towards the A site. Trophy system will make safe 1 overset nade. Report going to be scouted out just beyond the hill. Now Quantic with his teammates are starting to push on forward. This is a great hit for Rutgers as they had someone also making their way up the middle of the map, and it just comes down to this pinch. There is a player, Senso, from behind. He's able to find one, looking for a second, able to do it, and just like that, Penn State White going to hold on, at least for now. Bomb doesn't get planted. It is Shades for a 1v2, but Senso makes a hell of an effort to keep things even.
Remaining survivors, Blue and Yodi. A little bit further back, over by Blue Broken. Sumtax is going to go ahead and just check for any information. Not there, though. Shade's doing this wonderfully. Just play patiently because Rutgers, they still have to capture the bomb. It is down inside the trench. I don't believe that Shades knew that was where it was dropped. Even if so, we'll be working the way around the rotation. That's going to be some good information coming right there. Now Shade's going to come through the rotation. The bomb was picked up, but those shots have to come through. Rutgers Scarlet able to win and put themselves up not only on map, but series point 5-2.
Yeah, just good oversight there from Lou. I'm not sure if he saw that concussion come out from the corner, but regardless, hard scoping it, watching it the entire way, hoping his teammate can get the bomb planted. But here we go. 5-2. Rutgers, you can feel it. It's right there. The reverse sweep. For Penn State, you got to win 4 rounds straight. And you need somebody to start getting the hot hand here besides Senso, who's found a lot of his kills on the flanks. And they'll have to do this first round on offense to get things kind of going. You would love to see a clean round here from Penn State. It's been a little bit stagnant, a little bit staggered. Smoke will try to put some pressure over towards the archway.
Well, they're going to rush right through this.
The trench. Lou will be figured out. He's been tagged up, but again, look at the stall. They get the smoke through, but they don't push further past it. Sparky with the sniper rifle is now backing up towards the red house. Shades would love to find a 1v1 against Quantic as he was able to take out his opposing sniper. Lou up top. Big 1v1 here. Good help from Senso. The team shots will play. Now it's going to be up to what happens next for Penn State. How do you commit to getting through? Because all of Rutgers is here at A with the exception of one player who could hit the flank. Protocol will find a kill. It's a 4-on-2 favoring Rutgers for their potential reverse sweep.
Penn has 2 members on the other side of this trench. It's Quantic and Protocol. 1 member looking over across the scoop. That's going to be Yodi. And now here comes the flood. Oh, good shots there out of Protocol, but just not enough. Pistol coming through. We'll find Ken, by the way, Quantic, who started off this round with an AX-50 hit on the Sparky, winning out the scope battle. Reckless frolicking through the mid. It's the lone survivor, from Report, who's going to start breaking through the mid. They have a trophy system, so no dead silence plays available. It's going to pick up the AX-50 that Sparky left behind, the dying gift from Sparky. Going to have to see if Report, who's at 2-7, can make anything happen. They only have 28 seconds to be playing with, and well, if you're Yodi and Reckless at this point, you can't be giving up too much space. You could just be playing back. The bomb is dropped. I believe it is on top of the bomb site. It's right outside the trenches, actually.
Right outside the trench.
Report's going to pick it up. There's a moment of opportunity here. You can slide in and possibly get a plant going.
He'll find himself an MP5 as well. It comes down to, has he been scouted? The answer will be yes. And the reverse sweep.
Wow.
For Rutgers and the Scarlet Knights up against the Nittany Lions here. Again, in a battle for what would be the second place position in the Northeast Division. Number 8, Rutgers down early. Able to find a way to reverse sweep against the number 11 team in Penn State. And, I think both teams are going to look back on this one and come away much the wiser, as there were a lot of things that really could have been securing maps for either team. Again, Rutgers early, as we'll take a look back at our scoreboard set to kind of give you the collapse as far as how things went here to finish things off. They were up very early on Gunrunner Hardpoint. Maybe too passive, too tentative, and a lot of the rotations allowed Penn State to work their way back in and make the comeback happen on Gunrunner Hardpoint. The Ramaza search and destroy, really honestly speaking, was Penn State in the driver's seat most of the time, although there were some really awkward moments in timing as well as kind of what we were watching for both teams. But then the Hackney Yard for the domination. Again, Penn State had an opportunity really to close it out in 3, but just were not quite able to hold on to the A side of Hackney Yard flags. And Rutgers able to capitalize and find themselves a 193-168. And then from there, Penn State just completely not in the game whatsoever on Hackney Yard hardpoint. They need to go back to the workshop and the laboratory on that one. And then Arcloth Peak for the search and destroy again, just not enough participation from Penn State White across the board of all 5 members. And Rutgers find a 6-2 in the reverse sweep.
Yeah, the momentum coming off of Ramaza immediately, whether or not it was the break, the pep talk that came through for Rutgers Scarlet. I mean, they came just running on back through that domination, especially at the latter half, through rotations and off spawn. I mean, that hard point was so blitzkrieg, and although it was so shaky back and forth, even though there were a lot of errors being thrown out into the world from both these teams, it was Rutgers Scarlet. They were able to come out on top of that. They're going to have to go back and clean things up, especially because, I mean, we cannot poise it any differently. There's a lot of tough teams within this Northeast Division, and, well, teams such as Humber, they're going to see those errors, and they're going to, again, gobble those things. They're going to study that tape and gobble those things up, and they're going to turn it into a very definitive victory. Rutgers Scarlet did come out on top today, though, in a very scarce format, especially early on, where they lost that hard point on Gunrunner, especially where you thought that they were going to win it. Just off of kills alone early on, you just thought that Rutgers Scarlet were going to be able to walk away with it, but then trumped by good rotations that came through, the ego challenges not being able to come through quite hefty as Rutgers Scarlet wanted them to, and then Penn State White able to rip the rug out from them early on, but again, just reeling on back, able to come back very strong, win it out in map 5. Color me impressed.
Indeed the case. And just kind of give you a recap of what's going on in the Northeastern Division. We mentioned Humber still sitting with 0 losses. Rutgers Scarlet will put themselves in the 2nd spot, and I believe with the 2nd loss, Penn State White for the time being will actually slip down to the 4th spot, allowing Tespa Carleton to move up to the 3rd. And depending, actually, I think they'll actually slip lower than that because their Penn State Blue counterpart squad up there at College Station is also sitting with only a single loss so far. So it'll be interesting to see when Penn State Blue plays Penn State White, what was the decision making between who was on which roster, and now maybe the question mark of which roster is the better roster. We'll have to find out later on into the CCL. Again, unfortunately, only able to bring out 1 match for you guys tonight. We are looking for more producers to help out on our Thursday night stream. Again, this is not just I could stream so I could produce. If you're interested, though, in having a conversation, there is a lot of facets that go on behind it. But if you're interested in having that convo, make sure to get in touch with our management team, as we are looking for a little bit of help to make sure we can bring continued coverage of the CCL on Thursdays specifically. And beyond that, of course, we are still running ranked 10s over in our Discord. So make sure you at least join up there by hitting !Discord in the chat. And of course, that's been Proper. I've been I Hold Shift. We'll catch you guys next week for more College COD. Until then, stay safe out there, all you crazy college kids. Hope you keep pulling it down. So long.